Hi guys, my name is Escarla. Welcome back to my channel. This is my little crafty corner of the universe where I like to document my making and really anything that flows from this little brain of mine. And I'm really excited for this video because I've been eagerly anticipating posting it. This is my little giveaway slash Q&A get to know me video. So I've been on YouTube now for 4 months and it's been such an amazing journey. I honestly feel like time has gone by so quickly. I've been so grateful for all of the support you guys have thrown my way, and I can't believe there's 1,400 of you guys that care about what I have to say. It's a little bit of like an out-of-body experience when I think about that, because I don't even really know 1,400 people. So thank you so much for being here and for supporting the channel. It means so much to me. I lead quite an introverted lifestyle, so reading the comments and replying to you guys is honestly the highlight of my week. It feels like I am like hanging out with my besties. The best part about having a channel is that you tend to attract like-minded people that are into similar things that you are. And I feel like that's really difficult to find in the real world. And it's already notoriously difficult to make friends as an adult. I actually work from home, so that makes it even harder to meet people, and I'm in a town that I've never lived in before, so this has become like my form of self-expression and a sense of community in a way, and it's really nice to see like some of the same names and people commenting on the videos. It feels really nice. Anyway, let me not ramble on for too long. Let's get into the questions. I want to keep this video like short and sweet. And at the end of the video, I will announce the giveaway and all of the details for that. So definitely stay tuned till the end. And yeah, let's get into it. Number 1, this person said, I'd like to know more about your artistic abilities and your artistic journey. And that's quite a bit to get into, but I think it would be a really great way for you guys to get to know me. So I have always been into the arts since essentially I was a child. I don't remember a time when I wasn't very creative, but my earliest memory of dabbling with art is probably around elementary school. I had a teacher in the 3rd grade that really made a huge impact on me. She was my art teacher, and she was really cool. She had really long, like, white hair, and she was from Spain, and I still remember her to this day. Her name was Miss Sanchez, and that was my first kind of really vivid memory of me clicking with the art world. I was really into drawing and coloring and all of that. I think most kids tend to be, but yeah, that's probably the earliest memory. But to actually talk about my journey per se, to give you guys a quick little background, I was born and raised in New York City, and I was born in Washington Heights, technically in Inwood, and I grew up with my brother and my single mom. I did have my dad around, but I would see him like maybe a couple times a week. But we lived with our mom. My mom worked late nights, so she wasn't really around a lot. So me and my brother pretty much were on our own or with babysitters. So we kind of developed a very creative world and dabbled into the things we were into from a very early age. But my brother actually got really into drawing and kind of graffiti and that kind of stuff, and that rubbed off on me. He's my older brother, so naturally I would kind of want to do the things he was doing. He taught me some of the bases regarding like how to draw a face and like how to do like leading lines and all of that kind of like artsy stuff. That was like the first time I remember drawing something based off of kind of like artistic principles. And in middle school, I always loved art class, and I kind of dove deeper into that world. So during that time, we had like dial-up internet. I would spend a lot of time online after school and stuff. And at the time there was, I believe it was DeviantArt. There was like a lot of forums for art that were coming up. And people were really into drawing like fairies and anime figurines. Ironically enough, I never really got into anime, but I did draw like these kind of anime-like fairy creatures. And I feel like I was really good at a young age. I was like 13 and 14 when I showed a lot of promise, and I decided to just dedicate a lot of my time to drawing. So middle school was when I got really into drawing, but the really cool thing about New York City is that you get to choose what high school you want to go to. It's not based off of like you live in this district, so you're restrained to like going to that local school. You're pretty much open to all of New York City and all of the boroughs. So I decided that I wanted to pursue fashion, and I don't know what exactly made me want to do fashion design. I feel like I just wanted to try something else, because I did kind of more traditional art for a couple of years in middle school, and I thought that it would be cool to like just try something new. So I applied to this school called Fashion Industries, and it was a very like intense application. I remember I had to like create a whole portfolio, and I had to do like an in-person test, and I got in, and I studied fashion design in high school, and that was really cool. We had fashion design classes, and then we actually had classes where we learned how to like drape and pattern making and how to sew. Our school was actually the original FIT building, so we had a lot of those old Singer machines and a lot of like industrial type of machinery to use. So that was really cool. I had a very unique high school experience, I would say, and I am to this day super grateful for the skills that I learned there. I learned how to create patterns from scratch, and honestly, I haven't really dived very into like sewing and like actually making clothing since then, and it's something that I've been thinking about doing for quite a while. But yes, so high school, fashion design and sewing, and then for college, I actually went to SVA, the School of Visual Arts, and I majored in computer art, animation, and visual effects. I ended up focusing more on 3D. So again, I completely shifted from what I was doing and wanted to try something new. This is kind of the pattern of my life. I tend to hop around different art mediums throughout the years, and I really consider myself a generalist of life. I don't really hyper focus on just one thing. I guess I do for like a period of time, but I get bored quite easily, so I have to like try different things and like do different projects to keep myself entertained. But yeah, SVA was really cool. It was very intense, a lot of art classes, traditional art, and then we did get to pick certain classes as well. So I actually studied a lot of existentialism, and I did like a toys and games class that was really fun. But my focus was 3D, so I really loved modeling. We used the software called Maya. I didn't love visual effects as much. I liked being able to like create a world in a digital space. So I really loved modeling and like texturing and lighting. But I kind of fell out of love with it because we spent our senior year working on our thesis, and I actually got an Outstanding Achievement Award for that. Me and my friend Mike partnered together, and we created this film called 92 Dreaming. You can find it online. I'll put it in the description if you want to check it out. So I did all of the like 3D aspects of that film, and then he did all of the visual effects and like kind of compositing everything together. And that was really fun, but it took me all year to work on that film, and that kind of drained the life out of me. And it made me realize that this wasn't something I wanted to pursue. I realized that that industry just wasn't for me. I don't want to work for months on something that's like a couple of minutes long, you know? So that was kind of a big disappointment. I actually felt very stunted after college because I spent a lot of money. I'm still like in a lot of debt because of it. Because it's a private school, it was very expensive, so I did feel quite stunted after graduating and realizing that I didn't want to pursue it, and I felt quite lost. And at that time, I went through a really big spiritual awakening, and my life was just kind of falling apart and coming together at the same time, and I just decided to pursue and dedicate my life to whatever I want to do, whether that be wire wrapping, which was something I got really into. I'll put some of my work here on the screen so you can check it out. But I was really into wire wrapping for a couple of years. Never took it like wildly seriously, but seriously enough to like open up an Etsy shop and have like about 50 sales or so. And then I kind of stopped doing that and I started knitting again. And yeah, getting back into knitting was really fun because I felt like it was bringing in that fashion background back into the present moment, and it just brought a lot of life back into my creative process and a lot of inspiration. So yeah, that's kind of where I am now. I got pretty hardcore into knitting about 4 or 5 years ago now, and yeah, so here I am. And that's kind of the rundown of my artistic journey. I hope that makes sense and I'm able to narrow that down into a concise kind of flow, because I just kind of word vomited at y'all. Let's go on to the next question, number 2. When did you learn to knit and crochet? So I actually learned how to crochet first, and I was actually taught by my, I don't know what to call her, if she's like my neighbor or like, she lived in our house essentially. Her name was Tioni, shout out to her. She taught me how to crochet when I was like 14, 15, I'm gonna say. Actually no, I think I was 14 years old when she taught me how to crochet. She was really into like cross stitch, so she taught me how to cross stitch. I did like this cute little duck thing, like 2 ducks kissing, and yeah, she was into like kind of handiwork. So yeah, she taught me how to crochet at 14. At the time, I really liked crocheting, but I never really fully finished anything. I would start like a scarf and then never finish it, or I would start like a bag and then never finish it. So it was more of like something I did because I liked the act of it, but I never cared about the finished object. But that was when I first learned how to crochet. Knitting came a little bit later, but I learned to knit probably like a year or 2 after that. And I was taught by my aunt Jocelyn, and she taught me how to knit. I think I was like 15 going on 16. And ironically enough, she taught me how to knit in the wrong way. Like, she taught me how to knit through the back loop. So for the longest time, my knitting was off, but you couldn't really tell unless I was knitting in the round. That was when I first discovered that I was knitting the wrong way. So when you knit through the back loop and then purl, if you're working flat, it doesn't really look like a twisted stitch as much. And obviously, like, as a new knitter, I didn't have anything else to compare it to. YouTube wasn't like that big of a thing at the time. There wasn't like YouTube tutorials and stuff like that to reference. I'm sure there were some, but I wasn't like going on YouTube and searching that. I was just watching like stupid prank videos at the time. But yeah, so I was knitting wrong for the longest time. And then when I knit my first project in the round, that was when I discovered that I was not knitting correctly. And that was like a huge epiphany. But yeah, I learned at 14 and 15. The next question is, what are your favorite things to knit and crochet? That kind of changes depending on the time. Like I said, tend to like hop around different types of things. I like to try and master, you know. I don't consider myself a master of anything, but I like to try and perfect something at a time. But I would say my favorite things to knit are garments. Like I said, for the longest time in my early journey of knitting and crocheting, all I would do was like start projects and never finish them. Or I would knit a lot of scarves. I did get into scarf making. But when I learned how to actually make like a sweater, that did it for me. I was addicted. The fact that you can create a garment from nothing is like the most magical act, I think. So I would say my favorite thing to knit are like sweaters or pullover type of things, like cardigans too, really any garments. My favorite thing to crochet, I don't crochet as much as I knit, but I have been more into crochet lately, and I really like crocheting like those amigurumi characters. They're really fun to make, and they come together pretty quickly, and they just look so unique and cool. And I also really like crocheting like afghans or throws, even though I haven't fully completed one yet. But those are really fun to crochet because knitting them takes way too long. The next question, what's a crafty skill you want to learn or improve on? Well, one thing would definitely be sewing. I feel like once I start sewing things, everything will click back like muscle memory. I tend to like mend things, and that's pretty much the extent of it. I would love to actually make my wedding dress. So we are planning to get married this spring. Really super low-key wedding, like nothing big. And I thought it would be really cool to like figure out how to make my own wedding dress and document it. So that's definitely something I want to do. And in terms of like a newer skill, I really want to try out punch needling. I saw on Pinterest these really cool like self-portrait punch needle pieces of like wall art, and I thought it would be really cool to like do one of me and Zach. So yeah, I would like to do that. Okay, which crafts do you mainly do, and what made you want to get into them? So the craft I do the most is definitely knitting, and I got really into it about 5 years ago again. So I already had the skill set, but before then I was really only making very basic things like scarves and like half-finished afghans. And I think what got me more into garment making was Wool in the Gang or We Are Knitters. At the time I was heavily being marketed by them, and they were selling those kits. They still sell them. I got one of their kits, and it was pretty expensive for me at the time. It was like $80 for the kit. For someone who like never really made a sweater, I was like, oh my God, that's so expensive. Now it's like I'm spending like $100 and some on yarn for a sweater. I feel like once you get fully committed to the knitting world, it's a whole other world. But at the start, it feels kind of expensive. But yeah, I bought one of those kits and I made a cardigan, and it didn't really fit right because, like I said, I was knitting wrong. That was when I learned that I was kind of twisting my stitches. But when I finished it, I just felt so proud, and it was so cool to be able to like wear this thing that I spent hours and hours stitching like a stitch at a time. And there's just something so magical about knitting that really hooked me. So I think that's what got me really into knitting, and then I was addicted. And then I discovered things like Ravelry and all of these like online yarn retailers and like the knitting side of YouTube and people on Instagram that knit, and this whole other world like opened up for me. So yeah, so I would say that's my main craft right now. I would like to get back into like illustration. I was really into drawing for a while, especially in college, but I kind of stopped. I haven't really focused on anything but like fibery things. So maybe one day I'll get back into that. What type of fiber would you recommend for a beginner spinner? So I would recommend, based off of my experience, I actually learned on a lot of merino and rambouillet. So I guess I would recommend starting off with that. But depending where you are, I would just say, see what you have available to you and just give it a shot. I wouldn't recommend anything blended with silk, or I also wouldn't really recommend like a super wash because it tends to want to spin thinner and it's a little bit harder to draft. But yeah, I think rambouillet or merino is a great start. But I think my favorite thing that I did was I signed up for some fiber clubs, and a lot of fiber clubs tend to dye on different types of wool. So that was a really fun way for me to discover different types of wool and what I like to spin, what I didn't. Honestly, there isn't something that I don't like to spin, and I've found most fibers easy to work with. I don't know if it's just my luck, but yeah, I guess merino or rambouillet, but I highly recommend signing up for like a fiber club, even if it's just for a couple of months. They're about like $20 something dollars a month. I guess it depends where you live, but that would be a great way to start. And then the last question I have is, do you have a favorite knitting pattern that you have used more than once? And I actually haven't knit anything more than once. I like to just try new things all the time, so I don't tend to revisit things. I guess in regards to crocheting, I really enjoy like the granny stitch. So that's something I've like done again and again, but technically it's not like a pattern that I've followed again and again. Yeah, I like exploring different designers and different patterns all the time to keep life exciting. I feel like life's too short to just keep knitting the same things over and over again. That's just my opinion. All right, so that was it for the questions. I hope that gave you a little bit more insight as to my artistic journey and who I am. And now it's time for the giveaway. So I'm sure many of you are eager to see what it is that I'm giving away. And it's gonna be number 1. This is my hand spun that I made myself with my little hands. And I did check before I made this video. And this is actually superwash merino. And I spun it to about a fingering weight to a sport weight, but it's more of a fingering weight yarn. You have about 400 yards here. And then I'm also giving away this skein of cattail silk by Pearl Soho. And Pearl Soho was actually the first knitting store that I ever went to that wasn't like a Michael's or a Joann's in New York City. They're now closed, which is really sad, but Pearl Soho has a special place in my heart because that was the first time I ever went to like a yarn shop, like a proper yarn shop. So this is their cattail silk. It's 100% silk. It's in this really beautiful goldenrod kind of color. It's called Golden Oak, and you have about 618 yards here. So this is like more of a lace to very light fingering weight. So the winner will get these 2 skeins of yarn, and I'm also giving away a $25 gift card for Michael's. So to participate in the giveaway, you must be subscribed to the channel. Please like this video and comment down below what you would make with the yarn. Feel free to forward it to a friend, and yeah, that's pretty much all you need to do to join the giveaway. So the comments that will count are only the ones in this video. So let me know in the comment section what you would do with the yarn, what you would make, and I will pick a winner by my next video, which will be next Saturday. I should tell you the date, huh? I will be picking a winner on March 9th, which is next Saturday. After that, the giveaway will be closed, and I will let you know in that video who won. So I will pick one person from the comment sections of this video. And yeah, I did see my analytics, and like 41% of you guys aren't subscribed to the channel. So this is a great opportunity to subscribe and maybe win something. But yeah, if anybody reaches out to you claiming that you won, that is not me. Do not give your personal information to any body sounding person. I know sometimes that happens here on YouTube. Once I announce the winner, I will have them reach out to me so I can verify that they're a real person. And yeah, good luck. I hope that you win. All right, so that is it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. In case you are wondering, because I always forget, I am wearing my No Sweatshirt by Park Williams. This is a sweater that I test knit for her like last year, I believe. And it is knit up in Noro Mirai. Mirai? I don't know how to say that. But this is Noro yarn. It's a really fun yarn, but it's very expensive for what it is, I think. But yeah, I really love this sweater. It has a hoodie. I'm not gonna put it on because I actually knit the hood too small and I wanted to correct it, so it is what it is. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing in case you were wondering. And yeah, that's about it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you being here as always. Please subscribe. Make sure you comment down below what you would make with the yarn if you're interested in winning. You can also follow me on Instagram at Starseed Creations. And yeah, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week. I hope that you win. And until then, happy crafting. Bye.